to Tony's Topics. Tony's Topics. Hey folks, what's happening? Welcome to Tony's Topics. My name's Tony and these are my topics. Let's get into pretty much my NBA picks and review. So tonight, this is Thanksgiving weekend, and tonight, first up, we have Chicago versus Boston. I'm going to go with Chicago. I don't know what it is about this team, because I would think that this team will be able to hold its own even if Derrick Rose isn't playing, but it seems like Chicago completely folds if Derrick Rose is not in the mix. Why? Whatever. I don't know. But, Jimmy Butler's, playing his heart out there, and now I guess we're getting to really see what Joakim Noah can really do, but I just don't see it. That team just seems too deep. Between Paul Gasol, Joakim Noah, Butler, Rose when he does play, Henrik, McDermott, Dunleavy, Taj Gibson when he's able to play. I just don't understand why this team is so deep, can't pull out small wins if Derrick Rose isn't there. It's one thing if you're losing to the Spurs, but to lose to some mediocre team, I just expect a little bit better. So, maybe it's a foretelling, really. Next up, Golden State Warriors versus Charlotte. Golden State Warriors. Again, nothing needs to be said about that one. Pelicans versus Atlanta. I think the Pelicans, they're kind of due for a win right now and stuff, and I think they're a little bit hungry for it. Let's see here. Milwaukee versus Detroit. I take the Bucks. Not really interested in that matchup, but I take the Bucks anyway. Dallas versus Toronto. This should be an interesting one, because up until now it seems that Toronto's played some games, but I really haven't seen them go up against really major threats. Real championship contenders. And so Dallas is always like a tier 3 team. They're above average, but they're always going to be like one of the first teams to get knocked out or eliminated in the playoffs and stuff. So I think this is a really good challenge to see how good Toronto is, but I guess I had picked the team that's 12-2, so go Toronto Raptors. And plus they're young too. Alright, so next up, let's see here. The Clippers versus Houston. Clippers should win this one normally. Last year's Clippers would easily beat last year's Houston Rockets. But this year's Clippers, Doc's been making a ton of mistakes. But I think Dwight Howard's still going to be injured, so I still take the Clippers. Not to mention I'm a fan, want the Clippers to win. But the Clippers should win this. Just off of you take star player versus star player, the Clippers should have this one blown away. Either way it goes. New York Knicks versus OKC. There's a rumor that Westbrook might be coming back today. I go with OKC. The real question to me is when Westbrook finally does come back, will the coach have enough sense to play Westbrook at shooting guard, and let Reggie Jackson continue to do what he's doing? Because Reggie Jackson is producing and he's got that team producing. Serge Ibaka hasn't had great numbers like this in a long time. So the question is, if you do get Westbrook back and Durant back, will you run the team right? Knowing Scotty Brooks? Either way it goes. Let's keep moving. So let's see here. Orlando versus Indiana. Who cares? Indiana probably has something still left in the tank, but honestly, who cares? Let's see here. Next up, Sacramento Kings versus the Spurs. Easy Spurs. And let's see, Phoenix versus Denver. Phoenix Suns. And Memphis versus Portland. Now here's a real game. Oh my gosh. Memphis is getting a real test tonight against Portland. Portland, I already told you my feelings about Portland. I think that team is one star away from being a ring holder. So, honestly, I was looking at the matchups and I'm thinking LaMarcus Aldridge over Zach Randolph all day, but Marc Gasol is going to be over Robin Lopez all day. So then it comes to your backcourt. What's your backcourt looking like? I'm like Damian Lillard over Mike Conley. I'd say Wesley, whatever Wesley's first name is, but I take Wesley over that kid that they got over in the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. It'll come back to me. And then so the question becomes, what's going to happen at the small forward position? Tony Allen is a great defensive player, but offensively he's typically a little bit weak in that department. So you got to give it to Batum. And thus overall, I take Portland to win. Both teams have great benches, and so if the coaches use them right, granted, the Portland Trailblazers are missing C.J. McCollum right now, but still, they have a great bench. So honestly, I still give Portland a slight edge. And if LaMarcus Aldridge, the real LaMarcus Aldridge, shows up, they're going to take Memphis. Period. Both are great defensive teams, but Portland's just got a little bit more star power. So I would go with them. So, and I believe that wraps it. Thanks for tuning in.